Hello, everyone, and how are you doing today? This week on Relationships Unveiled, we're talking about tips and steps to healing while you're going through pain in your relationship or after a breakup. I'm Kane Deoniru. I am a mom. I am an entrepreneur. I am a relationship expert and reinvention strategist. I am a coach, and most importantly, I am a boss. I realized that there's so many people that have relationship and marriage challenges, so I decided to create a safe space for women and everyone to unwind and to have open conversations about everything included on this journey called relationships or marriage. So join me as we unveil each layer one at a time. Whether you're married, whether you're single, you're dating, you're courting, you're separated, you're divorced or widowed, this is a space for you to learn from me while I'm keeping it real. I want to let you know that you're not alone in this personal development journey of becoming a better person in your relationship or even after your breakup. I want you to recognize the moments of goodness, joy, happiness, as well as recognizing your pain and your hurt and how to deal with that. Everything that comes with being in a relationship, and that's exactly what this show is about. We all know that relationships are hard work. Being good at loving other people doesn't always come naturally easy to most of us, but it's a skill that you have to learn and practice. That's what's so exciting and groundbreaking about the decades of research that I've created with Relationships Unveiled series and podcast. I realized that love can be studied and the research can be applied to improve your relationship right away. Welcome again to Relationships Unveiled. We are a research-based podcast featuring the latest from KO Women Leadership Academy. Whether you're new to my podcast or you're a recurring follower, thank you very much, and I welcome you. I believe that you'll find something interesting, relevant, or refreshing in the hand-picked selection of featured content in each episode. Now, what makes Relationship Unveiled different? It's a resource of tools, tips, exercises, and more, all founded by my years of research and relationship experience, delivered straight to you via our social media content, via our live IG series, or on this podcast. The best part about it, it's free, guys. So get your pen, grab a piece of paper, and get ready to learn. My goal is to teach you one thing each day that would help you deepen your friendship and allow you to to use conflict as a catalyst for closeness and enhance the romance in your marriage or your relationship. Also, I help couples learn how to manage conflict, deepen their friendship and intimacy, and share their life purpose and dreams together. Discover a research-based assessment and effective interventions that you can start practicing immediately. Now, you know that I have a personal passion for saving, restoring, and helping people move past the pain in their relationship. We're going to share conversations on relevant relationship topics that will inspire couples to chase after God or seek Him for healing after a breakup or while they're experiencing healing in that relationship. We also discuss the complexities of relationships, marriage, struggles, and the vulnerability that we face each day in just becoming a better person. Most importantly, it's a personal development journey. And that's what KO Women Leadership is all about, which is powered by. So listen, subscribe to Relationships Unveiled Podcast today. It's all about fixing and healing from your relationship. For updated content, follow us on KO Women, and that's KO Women on all social media platforms. And just remember, whatever choice you make, it is the right choice. Trust yourself and trust the process. Now, let's get right into it. I'm going to go right in depth and giving you tips for grieving or just even experience healing in your relationship while you're in it or while you've broken up. If you listen to episode 3, we spoke about just how to deal with a breakup or a divorce. Now, I had my amazing listeners reach out to me and they wanted more in-depth tips. That was only a 15-minute podcast. So sit back today. I have 45 minutes with you and we're going to get right into it. Now, while you're experiencing pain in your relationship, I know that it's never easy. Now, and I want to make it clear to you that I am pro-marriage and I'm anti-divorce. But sometimes I'm realizing that things happen, guys, in life that we didn't plan for, right? So I also realized that God hates divorce, but He also hates people being wounded and abused and betrayed. Jesus gave us reasons for divorce in the Bible. So I have conversation with friends at times and they're like, why did the person have to give up? What I want them to realize is that nobody chooses to give up on their marriage. The same way you're praying for your marriage to work, you're also praying for your marriage not to give up, right? So anyone who follows me on Instagram or follows my life, you know that like I said, I'm very pro-marriage and I'm anti-divorce. But sometimes, guys, shit happens. But most importantly, I'm pro-truth and I'm pro-healing. Okay? If a marriage is based on abuse, manipulation, and lies, that is not a God-honoring marriage either, guys. So let's realize that. Most of these situations are not black or white. They're gray. And I believe God's grace is there for each and every one of us. So if you continue to listen to other people about how to navigate your feelings, what you're doing wrong, I know that, I'm Nigerian. So mostly in our culture, we've watched our parents, go through situations, or we've watched them not argue in front of us. So we always think that, you know what, this is the way marriage is. Big shocker. And I put this in a project that I have coming out called Can Two Walk Together? So I never saw my parents argue. So because of that, I always thought, oh, marriage is peachy keen. Oh my God, there's nothing going on. We're never going to argue. We're never going to fight. We're never going to disagree. That is the furthest truth ever, guys. No marriage is perfect and no marriage is one-sided, guys. Okay. So if you find yourself dealing with a situation where you're in a marriage and you're going through situations and, you're being hurt, or you've broken up, don't fight your feelings, guys. That's tip number 1. It's normal to have lots of ups and downs in a relationship and feel many conflicting emotions, including anger, resentment, sadness, relief, fear, and confusion. Imagine somebody continues to hurt you every day. It's natural to have these emotions. The main thing you can do for yourself is be honest with yourself. Acknowledge and don't fight that feeling. It's important to identify and acknowledge these feelings so that while these emotions will often be painful, trying to suppress and ignore them will only, honestly, it will only prolong your healing process. Number 2, talk about how you're feeling. Even if it's difficult for you to talk about your feelings to anyone or talk to other people, it's very important to find a way to do so that when you're grieving, so that when you're hurting, you have to have somebody to speak with. So my advice is find a trusted friend and speak to them. Knowing that others are aware of your feelings will make you feel less alone and less alone in your pain while you're trying to heal with that pain in that relationship, or whether you're broken up. Now, my thing to do is I have a journal. I journal every day. There's some days where as I'm navigating my divorce, today might not be a good day. I put it down. But guess what? I move on from it and I acknowledge it. I don't try to hide from that pain. Number 3, remember that moving on is not the end goal. So whether you decide to let that argument go or you decide to keep giving whoever is hurting you an all pass and let it go, acknowledge that moving on from that pain or whatever it is not the end goal. Expressing your feelings will liberate you in a way that it's so important not to dwell on negative feelings. But if you also overanalyze it, it will just cause you a lot of grief. So really getting stuck in hurtful feelings, it's hurtful to you and your mindset and your mental state. Feeling like you're blaming, feeling like, when you feel anger, when you feel resentment, it will only rob you of your valuable energy and prevent you from healing and moving forward after the breakup or moving forward from whatever it is you're going through in your relationship. Number 4, remind yourself that you still have a future. When you commit to another person, you create many hopes and dreams for a life together. And now I'm speaking to the people that have walked away from that relationship or that toxic environment. After a breakup, it's hard to let these aspirations go. You're thinking about the dreams, the hopes, the vacations you had, the promises you made, the pillow talks. But as you grieve through the loss of the future you once envisioned, be encouraged by the fact that new hopes and new dreams will eventually replace the old ones, new aspiration. And if you're in that relationship and it's hard for you to see how you guys can move past that pain, continue to dream again, continue to hope again. Our goal is to make sure that everybody has a lasting, loving relationship. But we all know that things sometimes just don't happen that way, right? So number 5, know the difference between a normal reaction to a breakup or you're being depressed, or even if you're in that relationship and that person continually hurts you every day, recognize that you can move on from that and don't become depressed. Pray, get on your knees, focus on the Word of God, stay in the Word of God, and know that more than ever, you can either make a decision to stay and keep praying for God, because one thing I know, there's always hope. God is a God of restoration, you know? And if you decide to walk out and leave because the situation is too toxic, or whatever the Bible says about, leaving a toxic situation or leaving some situations that are detrimental to your health, also realize that whatever it is, it can paralyze you, right? So after a while, sadness will begin to lift from you. That pain will begin to go if you just realize that you have to keep looking up to God for that hope. You have to keep looking to the future and know that a new dawn is coming, and know that a new day is coming, right? Day by day and little by little, you start moving on from that pain or that breakup. However, if you don't feel any momentum, you may be suffering from depression. And guys, this is what we don't want. A bed, and I'll say it again, rule number 1, a bed is meant for sleeping. It's not meant for you to, to cry on and lay there all day and be depressed at all. So you have to find a way to move on. Now, if you have children, helping your kids through a breakup, it's never easy, right? So when mom and dad split, a child can feel confused, can feel angry. It's uncertain for them, as well as profoundly sad. So as a parent, you can help your kid cope with the breakup while they're looking at mommy and daddy argue in that relationship every day, or while mommy has decided to move on, mom and dad has decided to split. Either way, you can help them with the breakup by providing stability and attending to your child's need with a reassuring, positive attitude. So, for example, if you're in that relationship and you're going through pain every day and your kids have to watch you argue every day, you can talk to your kids about that and let them know this isn't healthy. But guess what? Mommy and daddy are going to work this out. And if you decided to leave that marriage and your child are, and they're sad about your breakup, you can still help them navigate by providing stability for them and explaining to them what's going on. Either way, whether you're dealing with the pain in your marriage or if you've decided to leave, you have to reach out to others for support. Support from others is really critical, but you need to make sure that you're reaching out to the right and trusted person to get that help, right? So you might feel alone, but isolating yourself while you're going through issues in your marriage or after, it's only just gonna make it more difficult for you. So don't try to get through this on your own. Make sure that you have the right support system around you, helping you navigate this, right? So connect face-to-face with trusted friends and family members. People who have been through this can always help you through what you're navigating through. And I believe that when we're getting married, this is the things we don't talk about. We're so happy about the white picket fence, and we're so happy about living in la la land that we don't even realize that one day we really have to deal with these feelings or deal with this emotion. And it's totally okay to deal with this, right? And it's totally okay to discuss it. It's totally okay to talk about it. And it's totally okay to move on from this, if that makes sense. And this is really relationship 101. This is what you're not taught about relationships, whether you're in college, whether, your family, nobody teaches this. You literally have to navigate this on your own, guys. So the next step is spend time with people who support you, who value you, and who energizes you. As you consider who to reach out to, choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who are positive and are truly willing to listen to you. It's important that you feel free to be honest about what you're going through without worrying about being judged or criticized. And you guys can relate. That's the worst thing, to feel like people are criticizing you over things that you're going through. It's so not easy, guys, okay? So the next step is get outside help if you need to. I know people have this stigma, especially, the older generation or what have you, or even in this new generation, we have this issue about, getting help or talking to a counselor. Now, if you're not speaking to a counselor or speaking to a third party to help you navigate these feelings and your emotions, I don't know how you're moving on, and it's really not healthy. Right? So you need to, get that taboo out of your mind. We're living a new age where you need to discuss your feelings. Mental health is real, guys. Mental health it's a thing that we need to realize that it exists. So if you're not speaking about it, how do you get through it? So reach out to a counselor, or, I have resources available for you. And the most important thing is that you can come here or you can contact me. And at the end of the day, You have to feel comfortable about opening up so that you can move past that situation. You have to cultivate new friendships. If you feel like you've lost your social network, maybe because you're dealing with pain, or you don't feel like talking to your friends, or you've kind of isolated yourself, join a support group, join an interest club, speak to somebody, community activities, go walking, work out, go to a place of worship, speak to your pastor, speak to a spiritual counselor, but just make sure that you take care of yourself. Whether you're going through that pain in your relationship or you've broken up, you have to take care of yourself. A divorce or separation or even enduring pain in your relationship, it's very highly stressful, guys, and it's a life-changing event. So when you're going through emotional rigor or you're going through all this drama, what have you, just know that it's not easy. Have you ever wondered, why is our relationship so hard? Why are things not perfect for us? At the end of the day, this is all the reason why you need to speak to somebody in dealing with this issue. Okay? So make sure that you treat yourself. Make sure that, that the strain of whatever you're going through in that relationship or post that relationship is not affecting your well-being. Treat yourself like you're getting over the flu. Get plenty of rest. Minimize other sources of stress in your life. Reduce your workload if you have to, right? Learn how to take care of yourself and know that you're only one person. If you are not feeding yourself and you are not pouring into yourself, how do you pour into other people? So as you feel the emotion of your loss or whatever pain that you're dealing with, begin learning from your experience. You can resolve or take better care of yourself and make positive choices as you learn more about yourself. So some self-care tips that I'm going to give you while you're going through relationship drama or post-relationship drama is to make time for yourself each day. Nurture yourself. Help yourself heal by scheduling daily time for activities. Find calming and soothing things to do. Go on a nature walk with your friends. Go to the park. I love the nature now, guys. I didn't realize how much I love nature. Like now it's raining today and I'm unable to go outside to run. But find something to do. Pay attention to what you need. In any given moment, speak up and express your needs while you're in that relationship or post that relationship. Honor what you believe to be right and best for you, even though it might be different, right? So let's say you're broken up. Your ex might not understand what you need, but you need to learn how to communicate with yourself or communicate with other people, even while you're in that relationship, without feeling the guilt, right, of honoring what is right. Always speak up your mind. Because I believe that, I've heard some of my, I have clients will say, I feel like a doormat. You feel like a doormat because you're not speaking up your mind. People can only learn to treat you when you teach them how to treat you. Okay? So for you single people out there, take heed, to this word. Stick to a routine. A relationship breakup or even going through a pain in that relationship can disrupt almost every area of your life, amplifying feelings of stress, uncertainty, and chaos. So getting back to a regular routine can provide a comforting sense of structure and normalcy, but don't run away. Remember, rule number 1, acknowledge what you're going through. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. And sometimes you got to take a time out. Try not to make any major decisions, while you're going through that pain or post your separation. Just don't make any decision. If you can wait until your feeling is less emotional or you're feeling less emotional, then you can make a better decision with a clearer head. Now, avoid using drugs or alcohol or food or whatever it is to cope. I know that sometimes when we're going through issues, we tend to use other means or things to cope. So when you're in the middle of going through a pain, you're tempted to do anything to kind of relieve that pain. But using alcohol or drugs or food as an escape is unhealthy and is destructive to you really in the long run. So it's essential to find healthier ways to cope with your feelings so that you can get over them. Explore new interests. A relationship, honestly, whether you're going through that pain in it or you're divorced or you're broken up, sometimes it doesn't end as well. So take the opportunity to explore new interests and activities, pursuing fun, new activities. It gives you a chance to enjoy life. You get to live in the here and now. You get to live in the present. You get to be present and not dwelling on your past or dwelling on what you can do to make it better or what you can do to fix them. Fix yourself. I think the most important thing that I can tell you today, guys, it's when you're going through any kind of problem in your relationship, rather than pointing a finger at the other person, look inward. The best thing you can do for yourself or on this personal development journey is to look at yourself and look at what you can do. See how you can, seek the Holy Spirit on working on you. And I was speaking to my sister the other day and we spoke about conduct. And I know that in Proverbs, it spoke about conduct. The only way to change a person is really through your conduct. It's not by your words. It's not by you yelling every day and fussing every day. It's really by changing yourself. When you change yourself in the way you relate to certain things, you'll find out that that person can actually change and there's hope for them to change. So if you're still in this relationship and you know that, you're not in a threatening situation where you feel like, okay, this is a toxic environment. Yeah, it might be toxic, but a marriage is meant for you to work it out, right? I think divorce is really the last option for a lot of people that has chosen to go that route. So once again, make healthy choices. Make sure you eat well, you sleep well, and you exercise. When you're going through a stress of going through a stress of anything you're dealing with, it's easy to just let habits fall wayside, right? So you might find yourself not eating well, not eating at all, eating junk food, not exercising. And I think, like I said this earlier, just find a positive way to handle it. Okay? So important lessons for me when you're dealing with things in your relationship. It can be difficult to see when you're going through something painful in your relationship. But in the times of emotional crisis, there are opportunities to grow and learn. You have to grow and learn. And if we're not growing through it, what are we doing? You might be feeling nothing but emptiness and sadness, in your life right now because you're dealing with whatever it is in your household or post your divorce or breakup. You might be feeling, that, I'm not worthy. You might be feeling sad or, feeling like, things will never change or he'll never change. So try to consider this period in your life as a timeout. So even if you're in that relationship, I do believe that people change. I really believe that people change. But I also believe more that you have to make up your mind. If you don't see that change, you have to make up your mind, okay? And whatever decision that you make, you need to just take a time out, okay? Let it be a time of sowing seeds for new growth. Find something to do. A marriage is like a quarter of your identity. It is not your whole identity. So when you meet some people, they act like the marriage is their life. Get a life and find something to do. If that thing is bothering you so bad, find some new hobbies. Get a friend. Go out and do something, right? And find a way to make yourself happy. You can emerge from this experience knowing yourself better and knowing that you can be stronger and you can be wiser and you can overcome anything. Okay, guys? So in order to fully accept a breakup or pain that you're dealing with in your marriage, and moving on from that fight or that argument, you need to understand that whatever happened, acknowledge the part that you've played in that situation. And then the more you understand that, the more the choice, how the choice affected you, the better you learn from your mistakes or avoid repeating them while in that relationship or in your new relationship. Okay, so some questions to kind of ask yourself is step back and look at the big picture. How am I contributing to the problems in this relationship? Or how did I contribute to the problems in my relationship? Are you repeating the same mistake or choosing the wrong person in the relationship? Right? So if you're in that relationship, are you making the same mistake? Are you being argumentative every day? Are you, coming for that person every time they make a mistake? Or if you've left that marriage, realize what choice did you make? What did I do wrong? And then learn from that and know how to apply that to your new relationship. So think about how you react to stress and deal with conflict and insecurities. Could you act in a more constructive way? Consider whether you are or you're not, how am I allowing people to treat me? So come to that conclusion. How am I communicating my feelings? How am I conveying how I want to be treated? That is very important. Again, you have to treat people or you have to teach them how to treat you. Examine your negative feelings at some point. So imagine if this person is hurting you every day, what am I doing? You don't have to be doing anything to contribute to that, but examine, how can I look at this in a more positive way? How can I approach my partner and see how we can do couples counseling, how we can go to therapy, and how we can make it better. And if you've moved on from that relationship, are you in control of your feelings? You have to be in control of your feelings. You have to be in control of how you feel. Okay? So you have to be honest, and you got to be honest with yourself. And I think that is the most important thing about going through any healing process. Try not to dwell on who is to blame or beat yourself up for mistakes or things that have happened. Look back on the good times that you guys have had. And honestly, there's always a good time. So try not to dwell on, okay, this is over and we're going through this right now. No, dwell on the great things that you've had, and that will help you bring you to a good place with that person. Right? As you look back on whatever it is, you have the opportunity to learn more about yourself. And I think, this is the reason why I created KO Women Leadership Academy. It's all about your personal development journey. It's all about who I've become. The woman I was in my marriage is not the woman I am today. The person I was 4 years ago when I separated is not the woman I am today. So as you look back on that relationship, what opportunities have you had to learn more about yourself? How can you relate to other people and their problems and the problems that you needed to work on within yourself, right? So if you're able to objectively examine these choices and behaviors, including the reasons why you chose your former partner or the reason why you chose your current partner, you'll be able to see what went wrong or what is going wrong and how you can make a better choice in making your marriage work as you decide to stick with it or as you decide or you're led to leave, So for me, I just think there's plenty of resources out there that you can get help. There's plenty of people that you can speak with. I truly believe that, God loves marriage. And I think I said that in episode 3. I am, okay, and I'll say it again. I am pro-marriage and I'm anti-divorce. But I know that sometimes life happens. Most importantly, I am pro-truth and pro-healing. And I believe that you have to heal through it. So even if you're divorced, go through your healing process. Don't try to jump right back into a relationship. Go through the healing process. Make sure that you're good. Make sure that you know about yourself. Date yourself. Enjoy yourself. And if you're in a relationship that's going through problems and your husband or your partner doesn't want to, talk to a third party or a therapist, I just, if I may refer the power of a praying wife, get on your knees and pray. I do believe that people can change. Nobody ever wants to break up their home or nobody ever wants to break up a family. And I think people need to realize that. So even for the people that are in their relationship and judging others, oh, why did she leave? And why did she do this? Nobody ever wants to leave. And for us that are divorced and judging the people that are in there dealing with that pain, nobody ever wants to break up a home. I think it's not an easy process in general, So like I said, I'm fully aware that sometimes divorce is not necessary, but sometimes it is necessary, guys. And sometimes it happens and you didn't want it to happen, okay? You didn't want it to happen. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to that their father has left their mother and certainly their mother never wanted a divorce. I never wanted a divorce, okay? But at the end of the day, things happen, guys. So let's just be sympathetic. Let's have empathy for other people and realize that if you live in a physically dangerous marriage or an emotionally destructive marriage, people sometimes have to leave that situation, So for me, what are biblical grounds for divorce? Adultery and abandonment. If somebody abandons you or haven't spoken to you in 4 or 5 years, that's abandonment, guys, okay? And adultery. But there's grace for everything. There's situations where somebody continues to have an adultery in that relationship. But you know what? God will honor the person that is willing to put up with that. God will honor the person that's willing to stick it out. So I truly believe in marriage restoration. And I believe that there's nothing too hard for God. So if you find yourself in this situation that you're in a relationship and the person continues to hurt you, God is the only one that can really give you that peace. I can give you tips and tools on here, but God is the ultimate peace giver. God is the person that will actually give you the peace that you need, And I know that in Matthew 19:19, it says, I say unto you, whoever divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality and marries another, commits adultery. Okay? And also for abandonment, 1 Corinthians 7:12 to 15 says, if any brother has a wife or who is a believer and she's willing to live with him, he must not divorce her. And if a woman has a husband who is not a believer and is willing to live with her, she must not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband has been sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife has been sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise, your children would be unclean, but as it is, they are holy. But if the unbeliever leaves, let it be so. Bye, Felicia. Let it go like Elsa. Okay? The brother or the sister is not bound in such circumstance. God has called us to live in peace. And I emphasize, live in peace, not discord every day, not person continually hurting you every day. So my plea to men, because and some women, or whoever you are, and you are the accuser in your relationship and you continuously hurt your spouse. My plea to you is that please, okay, take time out and realize that this is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's son. So just take the time out and realize that you cannot continue to hurt your partner. Get the help that you need. Get the help that's going to help you be a better person, be a better husband. There's always room for improvement, and there's always room to be better. And this is what I believe, that we're not taught. But here I am with this platform, and I'm here to have this uncomfortable conversations, guys. It's necessary and it's high time. I'm a mom of girls, and I have to have this conversation with my girls. And like my girls know, divorce it wasn't something I wanted, but it was something necessary because of the abandonment in my marriage. Okay. So I believe that honestly, if you're like me, there's a common misconception about relationship. And I speak about this in my project, Can Two Walk Together? I lived in this bubble because I played with my Ken doll, my Barbie doll, and I would arrange them every day. And nobody ever taught me that Ken and Barbie can argue, and they do argue. Okay. And they do fight, and discord does happen. So we're told, to easily settle down with a partner or find a close friend who will bring you happiness, or, no strings attached, no complications, no fights. That couldn't be furthest from the truth, guys. Okay. People argue, but argument is not a bad thing. In that point of marriage is not about happiness. It's about growth. How are you growing together? I've had the chance, to interview people, over 50 couples. And one thing I learned from all of them, love goes out the window in the first year. It's really about growing through that relationship, having a forgiving spirit, right? Okay. And it's likely true for all interpersonal relationship. It's really about having a forgiving spirit, not being petty, and honestly working through your problem. Like, everybody fights, everybody goes through a situation. But if we take a step further back, right, you realize that it's not easy. People have to keep you. The Bible says if a person slaps you or does something to you, you have to forgive them 77 times. Or maybe more than that. But even that 77, I think what God was trying to say, not to say it doesn't go past that number, but what the Holy Spirit was showing me through that verse is it's a continuous thing. You have to keep forgiving. You have to keep forgiving. So even for the people that are broken up, you have to realize that you have children. You cannot co-parent when two parties are not speaking to each other. How's that possible? It's impossible. So you have to be the change in the example that you want to teach your kids. So if you're arguing in front of these kids every day and you're not having a conversation with them about what's going on, or if you're divorced or broken up and you're not explaining to your kids, or they're not seeing you talk, how do you want them to navigate conflict resolution when they get older? Food for thought, people. Okay? Food for thought. So when anyone, we've never been taught how to, and I think, this is the main problem that I feel like I have another episode coming up on this, that conflict resolution is a very important thing, guys. You're going to fight with people. We're different. God created us uniquely. We're all uniquely designed in our own way, in our own terms, all to the glory of God. So you have to learn conflict resolution. When you get in an heated argument, nobody teaches you how to get over this. But this is one of the things that if you want to stay in a healthy marriage, you have to learn conflict resolution skills. You have to learn how to say thank you. I have other episodes coming up about the 5 stages of marriage, how to share fondness and how to share admiration from each other, how to appreciate your spouse, how to say thank you to your spouse for the little things. Even if your spouse lays the bed, thank you for laying the bed today. Thank you for holding it down while I go to work and you're with the children all day. Appreciation goes a long way, guys, in making a marriage and relationship work. Okay. So when did anyone purposely teach us about empathy and how to express our feelings? I'm actually going to have a course about, relationship 101. And this is for the next generation and even for the current generation. You have to learn how to express gratitude and how to manage conflict. And I truly believe that this is the only way to have a productive, healthy, and non-hurtful marriage. Okay. And I truly believe that possessing these skills would help you in your relationship. It will really help you. So you might say, oh, but why should I care? Why should I learn this? But why shouldn't you care? Why should you just be going with your gut and your instinct in your relationship? Okay, so for those men out there and you're out there stepping out on your partner, have a little empathy. Why should you be out there stepping out on your partner when marriage is a covenant? Okay? Not a contract, but a covenant. Topic for another day, okay? Content for another day. So maybe you realize that you already have a positive relationship in your life. So why just not, why do you need to keep learning how to, treat your partner right? Even if you have the best relationship out there, you still need to keep having empathy. You still need to learn this valuable skills on how to even make your marriage continue to be healthy and make it stronger every day and bring your bond together. So when I gathered about 50 people together, like I said, and they were in their middle ages, and I asked them, what made your marriage work? And the one thing they asked each other every day is, what can I do in the next 50 years to ensure that I'm married? So that's the homework I want to leave you with today. Ask yourself, what can I do on my personal development journey to ensure that I'm married for the next 50 years? And if you're broken up or you're divorced, ask yourself, what can I do for the next 50 years in my new relationship or my new marriage? Because again, we want you to be happy. We want you to get married again if you choose to. Okay? Life is about moving on and learning and just cultivating relationships and the good habits of getting along with each other. So why should you form a good relationship? You should form a good relationship because you're intuitive. You're a romantic person. Who doesn't love love? I love love. But the kind of happily ever after sometimes only comes in a fairy tale, but it is attainable if you're willing to do the work and listen to my podcast every day and get tools and tips, right? So it's not weird to understand that you need to cultivate the habit of having a great relationship, especially when you feel like, well, he's doing this to me. He's hurting me. I don't want to get along. I don't want to, be friends after a divorce, especially when you have kids together. It's imperative that you learn to cultivate a great relationship so that you can pass on the message to your kids that they also, when they get into a fight with a friend, they also can learn to manage conflict resolution skills. Okay, guys? Positive relationships and interactions require understanding and being intentional. Being intentional is so important, okay? Because sometimes even when we're intentional or unkind or spiteful, because of negative thoughts, those feelings we experience about others, it gets bottled up and you start having resentment towards the other person. But if you have positive relationships and your interaction requires being intentional, I just believe that you engage better. You have better engagement with that person. And this requires an awareness of how to avoid being unkind. You have to be kind. You cannot be hurtful. And even if somebody is hurting you, you have to learn to transform those negative emotions into a positive one so that you can grow in your relationship. Okay? And that means you need to know how to make your relationship work. So, lastly, how do you make your relationship work? And how do you build positive relationships? Relationships for me are constantly in flux. They will always have some kind of conflict or disagreement. And that's really facts, y'all. Show me one couple that don't argue and please bring them to my table and let's have a discussion because I need to learn from them. Okay? So whether that it be with a coworker or with a friend, your sibling, your partner, I'm a twin. My twin and I fight like heck. But guess what? That's my best friend. But as we're getting older, we're learning to navigate the art of communication, or walking away from that argument and coming back later together, or just learning how to diffuse it. It's so important. So like I've said, all couples fight. You have to have arguments, and it's okay. You just need to learn how to move on from that and communicate. So conflict, whether big or small, will happen in interpersonal or non-interpersonal relationship. But it's important to know how to productively manage them. Okay? And manage it, and learning how to manage them will help you build better relationship with everybody you meet. I mean, somebody told me, you like everybody. Why don't I like everybody? I love everybody, even the ones that have hurt me, even the ones that probably, said things about me while I was getting divorced. I love everyone. That's me. I'm a lover. No one is going to get in the way of my personal development journey. Period. Okay, guys? So I suggest you start looking at it the same way. Even the person that have hurt me, I still love them. I love everyone. So learning how to handle this conflict, like I said, will help you build a better relationship. And most importantly, the same basic method of managing conflict and validating other people's perspective would teach you or couples how to generally apply it in their everyday life. Okay? So to any relationship that you meet, you just learn to just expect the best of people. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love hopes. It is not self-seeking. It is not self-centered. It is people-seeking. It is people-centered. It is people-centric. So frankly speaking, you just always have to be happy in your relationship. You won't always have to be happy in your relationship, but you have to learn how to always be happy with yourself so that you can learn to be happy in your relationship. Happiness is an ever-changing and it's conditional, guys. So you always hit some rough moments with friends, with coworkers, with your siblings. You won't always get along. But guess what? Some of your best relationships are probably the ones that you fight and you know how to communicate, okay? So I'm challenging you today that everyone is flawed. Just learn to accept people's flaws for who they are. And I think for me, I love this Brandy song that says, I'm a work in progress. I'm a seed growing into a flower. You got to learn to love people's flaws. Okay, harder said than done, guys. It's attainable. I know. I'm learning. As I'm teaching you, I'm also learning. So that happens, it just happens that if you don't learn to accept people's flaws, they will always irritate you and they will always get under your skin. And then getting under your skin means you get angry and you're losing your peace, you're losing your energy. And guess what? You wouldn't eventually know how to manage these differences. And you might end up souring your relationship or inhabiting your own personal growth. And right now, guys, at 40, it's all about my peace and my personal development. I don't blame anybody for anything anymore. I look at myself and I look inward and I said, Kenny or Kehinde, how can you get better at this? Period. Okay? So for me, I just want you to learn the basics about relationship and learn that, there's something called a sound relationship house. And if you can just learn how to get along with your children, how to get along with your siblings, how to get along with your spouse, how to get along in the workplace. Relationship is like an autopilot. How just to get along with yourself in general. And I believe that when you start learning about how to love yourself, you learn to love other people. Because people say, I don't love this person. My question is, how do you love other people? How do you love God and not love other people? It's impossible. God is love. When you love God and you focus on God, loving other people becomes secondary. It's so easy. Okay? So while we have the opportunity to find immense satisfaction and happiness in our relationship by using some of these methods that I've shown you today, you'll be able to grow and develop a greater understanding and empathy for one another. And in a larger context, we'll talk about creating a better world and building a greater love in humanity, which is incumbent to mostly all of us in learning how relationship works and how to use the knowledge to cultivate the best relationship possible in every area of your life. And honestly, isn't that what the world needs right now, especially with COVID? Let's just love one another. Let's appreciate one another. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've appreciated spending my 45 minutes with you. Catch me on the next episode. God bless you. God keep you. And again, follow my business page on KO Women, at KO Women. That's KO Women Leadership Academy. And again, this is for women, but most importantly, this is for everybody. Pass it on, share it with your mom, your dad, your sisters, your sibling, and most importantly, spread a little love today. Have a blessed day. Thank you for listening to Relationships Unveiled. Bye. Mwah.